Okay, so let me repeat it again. If you have a Mac OS, then perfectly fine. It is already everything that you need for this class. If you have a dual booting systems, meaning that you have Windows and Linux selectively to be booted, then you'll be fine. So bring this course, the Linux operating systems only. If you have well, anything other than but the Windows systems, then you need to download the virtual machine. Two versions of virtual machines available. One from Oracle and the other from VMware. VMware is stable. Uh, so I know some of you download the but trial version of VMware. That's fine. It will last, say, 30 days. Right, Michelle? I do not know what you have to do after 30 days of trial, so we'll see how Michelle will do. Maybe we'll retry. Um, if you continue to work on the cybersecurity or computer science, I strongly recommend you to buy VMware Workstation. There is a educational version or student version available. It's now only far over $200. If you can invest, it worth investing. Uh, Not only this, thing is this: professionals, CS or cybersecurity, without knowing Linux operating systems, you cannot say that, oh, I know computer science. If you do, for example, programming, say Java, only on Windows systems, then you cannot say that, oh, I know Java. You should do it in Linux. That way, your implementation or development will be robust and running um, efficiently. If you're working on networks, if you work on Windows machine only, then you cannot say, oh, I know networks. Don't say that, but you do it after you know networks on Linux operating systems, okay? So not only this course, but there are so many other courses, although some instructors still work on Windows systems, but I strongly recommend you to do the same thing on Linux. You need to build up your credentials by yourself by handling the same stuff on the Linux operating systems. Okay? Trust me and follow my guidelines so that your future will be promising. Okay? Trust me. So, on this monitor, I mean, terminal, this is a VMware. Okay? From this time, throughout whole class, I'm going to rely on VMware. No, not really VMware. VMware is just a tool. I'm going to work on Ubuntu, Linux operating systems, in my case, which is running on a VMware workstation. If you follow the way that I do here, then VMware workstation, okay? I don't think you will have any major problems if you work on VMware workstation. It's very, very smoothly and quickly installed, okay? If you still want to work on Oracle VirtualBox for some reason, then I want you to download the earlier version, not 5 dot something. Okay, no way. if you download the 4.sum, then um, it's not guaranteed, but highly likely doable. Okay. I think 3. 3. Rob, what was the version that you installed?
It's the latest of the 4.1.
4.1. Okay.
It's whatever that is before it went to 5.
Oh, I see.
Like
So it worked,
it's
right?
the last of the 4 plays.
Um,
I think it's
is there only one version of 4 dot?
no,
Multiple versions of 4 dot something, right? So I'm very
it's 4.3.30.
oh 4.3.30, right? So you can try 4.3, the low version, if you want. If you have any problem, then I think I don't know. I don't know that then, right? Um, or um, maybe some students has a unreliable laptop. Uh, I'm not sure. Um, so make sure that you have Ubuntu operating systems. Okay. Today we will do basic Linux command, basic, right? So next week we'll do advanced Linux command and more and more. We're not doing all advanced commands of a Unix one time next week. From next week, all are advanced commands. So today we'll do something that you definitely need to understand. So Linux command usually in this pattern. You have the command and option. Command and options. Many times there is options, right? What is a command, for example? Linux command, operating system command. Operating system command is nothing but program. That is exactly the same program as you did, for example, in Java programming or something else. Linux commands is written in C, so that's a C program. So when you do program, then the way it is programmed, the command is run. So you have to follow the way it is, the way it's programmed. If the developer allowed to accept, for example, option 1, option 2, option 3, then you have to choose only the option list from the option list. Okay? If it allows you to list options, more than one options, then you could do. If the programmer didn't develop it that way, then you shouldn't do it. So everything, all the commands that you could do in Linux, Linux command is nothing but programs coded by someone else in C. Okay. You can also do the high level, the commands by writing in Linux. Okay, that's different level, different layer, right? All the given built-in Linux commands are written in C. You can build the new command on your own in the Linux command. then there is another layer of command. The utmost goal of this class is for you to write a command so that someone else can use the command that you create. Okay? Not deep in the level, the lowest level, like C programs, but you use something already built on top of something already built, which is Linux command. Okay? The program that I just explained it to you so that you would do it is we call scripting rather than programming. Programming usually we are using the host language like C, Java. But if you want to do like macro level, using the commands or programs already developed by someone else, maybe the developer, Linux developer, or someone else, and it is called scripting. So I wanted to do script. I wanted to know how to do script. Okay. Scripting language, the powerful scripting languages currently available include Linux, has been known several decades, almost century, half century. One of the new language is powerful for you to do script is Python. Python can run over almost all systems. If you buy Mac products, then already Python is there. Like Linux is already in Mac, Python is there. Right? That type of things. Windows systems do not have that. So what I mean by that here is this is what I mentioned. Command followed by option, sometimes one option or sometimes a list of options, and files, some depending upon the command. Some command allows options, some command allows a file name, some commands allows multiple file names. All the format should be compliant with the language already written. So where can you find it? You need to find out the manual. Manual. If you read the manual, if you follow the manual, then you will be okay. If you do not follow the manual, then it will work only if you are so lucky, right? So the command is the name of utility or program. So command is nothing but the program that we are going to execute. Options. Again, the programmer, the way the programmer designed it, you should issue the command in the same way. So every time when you do command, if you do not, well, first of all, if it is the first time, then definitely you have to read the manual. So now we have to read a lot of manuals. Okay. Options. Sometimes we need to put dash and option. Sometimes even the sub options are possible. We have an option, then sub options. With this option, there may be further detailed options possible so that you can describe more restriction on the command, that you may do so. In most cases, then there is a double dash like this. Okay, not all the cases. Depends on the command. File name is not necessarily a file, but it can be a directory. It can be some process. Anything that's available, that objects available in the Linux operating systems will follow here in this file name, right? It's not strictly file itself. Okay. So there's a command, option, and objects for targets, target objects. Many cases it will be a file or directory. Okay. All right. So, and another the convention of the Unix or Linux. First of all, it should be all usually, not should be, but usually lowercase. Lowercase. Linux is lowercase. Many languages are case sensitive. Java, case sensitive, right? Usually lowercase. C, also case sensitive, usually lowercase. Python, same thing, case sensitive. Long time ago, 20 or 30 years ago, I think it was 30 years ago, when I first learned the programming language, at the time it's called Pascal. Anybody heard of the language called Pascal? No word, right? So that is case insensitive. So you can type, doesn't matter, capital or lowercase. Right? What it means, then it means that. There is an options. Options usually comes before the target objects. Usually. But again, it's up to the way it is programmed. So you have to read the manual. So for example, head. Head is a command. H-E-A-D. Tail, that is also a command. Followed by some number. Okay. Some options may dash or double dashes. But you have to something that is useful needs to be memorized. Every time the more the same command is used, easily you can memorize it, right? Another one is many times individual options may need a word after them to designate some additional meaning to the command. I wanted to look at this. This is this find command is a command that we will learn not in this module, but next advanced Linux operating advanced commands. Especially for cyber security professionals, if you need to make sure the Linux operating systems is well protected from any virus, any attack from outside, any intrusions, then many times you have to, once it is in your system, then you need to find out, right? Although you protect your system, your host machines, tightly, but there is no complete uh, protection schemes available. Always, attackers are developing something that you might not imagine. So, intrusion will be finally possible, which means your host systems might have something. You cannot find out manually, right? If you do change directories and find out all the files and change another directories and another directories, another directories. Think about this in the Windows systems. You open up the folder and find out all the files and open up another folder and coming back to the neighbor folders, and I don't think it's possible. Raise your hand. Anybody has opened all the files on your Windows on your laptop anytime once? Any files? Have you read every single files in your life? Me neither. Then how can you make sure that, for example, if there is some file not supposed to be there, but there, right? That should be known by cybersecurity professionals. There is a very good command called find. I know there's some a virus name called, for example, Michelangelo. Okay, Leonardo da Vinci. George Bush, for example. Okay? Virus. Sorry, you're not virus. Prism. Okay. How can you find it? Open up all the files. Click, 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 click. No, right? If there is a good command, then very nice. This is supposed to find. So we'll learn that, but find followed by slash. Slash means I want to find something from the very on top, from the root. Root is nothing but slash in Linux. If you want to go to top, we call that the root, then just slash. Not the root directory, but the root, very on top, then slash. There is an option, minus type. I want to find out this type, this option followed by something, some meaningful, some meanings, which is D4. I want you to think. Compare these two. You're right. If you have a D, then there is a directory type. If you say F, then file type. There are more designated the description. Okay. And another option, not only one option, but another option, minus name, which means file name, right? I want the file name. It's not really file name in this case. It is not file name, but directory name, right? If I do name here, then it is not directory name, but file name. I want to find directory name called 321, which is a Linux operating system, right? IASP 321. Is there any directory named 321? The following one is, oh, I'm sorry, this is not name here, right? There's a file name. Another thing here, the second find this command, I have a POM 0777. POM 777. Oh, it's a Boeing aircraft. 777, 747. POM. Anyone can imagine a POM Could be meaning. Huh? Yeah, permission. Thank you. Thanks, John. Yeah. His name is John, right? John Adams. Permit. Each file has a permission statement. Each file in Linux. Windows systems, um, it's not impossible, right? Even in Windows systems. Some files you can uh, change the attributes, some attribute of a file so that can you can write on it or read only, which means uh, you cannot write. You can specify that attribute even in on the Windows, right? It became available in Windows systems of recent versions, maybe version 7 or XP, right? So earlier version, like if you have a Windows 10 years old, then uh, probably not. There's no attribute uh, specification is available. But Linux, from the beginning, it exists, possible, right? Permission is possible. So each file has some permits. We'll look at that, right? Anyway, permission 0777. So we need to know what that number means today, right? A little later. We call that sticky bit. So we know that, what that means, right? 777. And then finally, the file name, all right? That is the convention. All right, installation managers. Linux, depending upon the version or distributions, for example, if you have a Red Hat operating system, or if you have a Ubuntu, depending upon the distribution, you might need a different manager that can help you install. This installation is not the installation of operating systems itself. Installation of operating systems over a virtual machine is a lot more easier, and that is a graphical user interface things. You click plus sign for VMware, or some of the click on the files and new. Therefore, you can install new guest operating systems on your Oracle VirtualBox. That is graphical user interface. Very, very simple. But the installation here is that once you have operating system itself doesn't do much for you to do something that you want. There are a lot of application programs that you want to implement, that you want to install, right? In Linux. Now I want to ask you, and you can uh, name on it. What applications that you may want when you have operating systems, Linux? Say anything that you want. Application programs. Web browser? Yeah, that is the application. That's a GUI based. We are not going to do much about the GUI in this class. We'll do more command level. So yeah, that is good applications, but yeah, that's possible, right? For example, if you want to do Wireshark,
I use Wireshark.
yeah, Wireshark, then uh, Ubuntu, anybody can guess Ubuntu automatically has Wireshark? No, usually not. Ubuntu is not that specific operating systems. But Kali, if you download the Kali, then Kali might have, right? Again, Wireshark, if somebody do not know what it means, then Wireshark is a tool that you can monitor network packets. Okay, let's say that is a very, very useful application program so that you want to install Wireshark. In such a case, you have to use one of these, right? If your system is Ubuntu, then DPMG, Debian Package Management Systems. For example, if it is a Debian, then the command for installation is apt-get, followed by install, followed by the application program. For example, if you want to install GCC, what is GCC? Can anyone guess what it GCC might be? C, right? C compiler. That's a C compiler. It's a freeware. You don't have to buy because this is a GNU product. GNU. GNU. The way that you can see here is, for example, if you want to install Wireshark, then apt-get install Wireshark. Right? If you try this, then of course you might have an error. If you log in as a regular username, other than root privileges, like super user, then you have to the application program, if it is not only on your own for your own use, then it should be installed for general users on the Linux operating systems. Therefore, it needs the privileges. The privileges is the privilege of the super user. You are not super user. Then what should you do? So first of all, you need to log in as a root user. You could, right? But once you are in a regular user, then you can switch your login to root using SU. SU is a command, super user. Then it asks you to enter the root, the password for the root. But if you do not know password for the root, usually if you didn't install, if the Linux operating system is not installed by you, then you do not have a password. But only if you are in the group of super user, super duer group, super user super duo group. Duo, which means it allows you to do as a super user, although it doesn't provide you super user login. If you have a super user login, then you could do anything that you want. But super user group is you could do, but you are not actually as a super user. You are doing only when you execute that command only, right? And for a while, a little bit, right? So to work. If you are in this group, then you can say here, if it requires super user privileges, then you need to type sudo. Sudo means actually there is a super user do, not do. But we simply say sudo command, right? Sudo command is allowing you to execute the command that is supposed to be run by the super user, the super user. But you are not the super user, but you are in that group, so you have that privileges only in that instance. Okay. On this slide, there are two managers available. If you know one, then you might guess another, right? Another one is yum. You can yum install GCC. So yum, you can use that if you use Red Hat. Red Hat is if you are hired by the company, good size of a company, then they usually have a Linux machine, Linux box. If they have some sensitive data, sensitive application programs, then they usually build those systems on the Linux operating systems than Windows systems. If they want to be at serious risk, if they are ready to be sued by someone else, they don't care losing all of their assets, then they may be able to do that on Windows systems, right? So Linux. So if you are on Linux, then usually there are two types of Linux operating systems are installed and up and running in most cases. Red Hat or Ubuntu. Red Hat or Ubuntu. Red Hat is, I mean, they're all Linux operating systems. But Red Hat is popular. Why? Because there's a company called Red Hat. Red Hat is very similar to Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut, that is house hut, right? Cabin, but shaped like a hat. It's Red Hat. It's a company. What they do is they serve the technical supports if you are subscribing. There's a Red Hat company. So they massage a little bit of the products and they sell the Red Hat. The revenues come from that company is from the service, technical supports, not from that product itself. Linux, Red Hat Linux operating systems is not allowed to sell and gain the profit by selling that, because this is a freeware, open source. Okay. So Ubuntu, there's no such companies saying that, oh, we are going to build up the Ubuntu a little bit so they buy our technical support and things like that. But Ubuntu is Ubuntu. Why Ubuntu does not have that? Is Ubuntu is equally powerful, but very easy, very easy to handle. Everyone can handle the Linux operating systems, as far as you know. Basic things, management tools. That's what we are going to do, right? I want you to have Linux operating systems on your own. Therefore, still, if you do not have that, please bring Ubuntu on your laptop. Therefore, if you have any really difficulties, then you may bring it, but bring it to me. But although would do, if that is a system issue, then I cannot handle, right? I'm sure you do the way that I would do. So if you have that problem, then maybe that is a third problem, which I may not be resolvable. Okay. So so what we are going to do is, again, Ubuntu. This is what we are going to do. Okay. Doesn't matter if it is over VMware, right? Doesn't matter if it is over Mac, which is Mac actually is not Ubuntu, right? It is a little different. Mac OS, it's kind of a Linux, but around 1990s, early 1990s, when Steve Jobs was struggling, well, actually years after he was kicked out from some company, right? And he started another small company called Next, N-E-X-T. At the time, if you students cannot purchase the Linux box, because usually Linux box are sold from Sun Microsystems. The cheapest one at that time is $10,000. Windows systems maybe $1,000, but the Linux operating systems $10,000, which is the cheapest one from Sun Microsystems. Steve Jobs, early 1990s, started a company called Next, and then sold the first cheapest Linux box. It's like a cube, black cube. It runs so perfectly, so powerful, but only $3,000. Now $3,000 is too much if you buy any systems, right? Any PCs. But at the time, $3,000 for computer scientists, that is good news. So many students purchased them. Next operating systems. The operating system called Mach. M-A-C-H. Mach means the speed of sound. It's not the light speed, but it's still very fast, right? That's what it means. Mach operating system. Mach is another generation of Linux operating systems. So basically, evolution from that Mach is now running on your small smartphone. Smartphone iOS is the extension from that Mach. Mac OS, that is an extension from that Mach. But Mach is an extension from the Linux operating system. Right? But anyway, So let's move. Okay, so file structures. Okay, here's one exercise. The files to find here, draw a tree structures of Linux file systems. I want you to find out all the structures of Linux first of all. The way that you could do is if you do cd followed by directory, then that is the command that you can traverse all the directories and files on your Linux operating system. I'm sure it takes so long. We're not going to do that poll today, but I wanted to start that. CD space slash means jump up to the top of that. And from there, if you are already top and switch and change one of the directory there, then you simply say cd and file name. The directory name. One of the well-known directory is ECT, etc directory. Then it'll go to Linux operating systems. As I said, on top there's a slash, and underneath this slash, this is tree structure. For example, there is a bin directory, bin for binary, and there is etc directory, for example, a lot more than that. And there is a home directory, so that under this home directory, if you create a user, you're not the only one user, because this is a multitasking, processing and server box. So you may create like 1,000 users. So each such user may have home directory. Each individual home directory should be under the home directory. So under home, then your home directory, and her home directory, and his home directory, and so on and so forth. And there are a lot of such things, right? In this home, might have Jyun, which is my home directory, and there might be another home directory, right? That's what I ask you to do. USR /USR. This command is useful. For example, you are currently under here in bin directory. Your cursor is here. But if you want to move to another, say here USR, then if you jump from here, to there quickly, in such case you can use this. If we want to jump from top to somewhere, then you don't need to do slash. Slash means very on top. If you do not have that slash, then it's from where you are. If you are already here on top, therefore, without saying slash, you can simply say where I am, which is on top. I can go bin etc home without having to specify slash. Then question, what if I put slash although I am on top? No harm, fine, right? Okay, so let's try that. How can you try? You have to run Ubuntu, okay? Let's start now Ubuntu all together. I have Ubuntu here. Kali, and all different kinds of Ubuntu. In one VirtualBox, you might have a multiple um, guest OS possible, right? So by highlighting one of those, and also you can activate one or more, which means it consumes your resource the way that you specify when you first install the guest operating systems. If you say, oh, this guest operating systems needs 2 gigabytes of RAM, then it consumes that, right? And also hard drives, oh, I allow 20 gigabytes, so on and so forth. So, which means uh, it'll be running very, very slowly. So there is a run sign, right? Resume. If you have VirtualBox, let me survey. How many of you right now VMware like mine? Raise your hand. Okay. Yeah, VMware and running Ubuntu. I think half of those. Raise your hand if you have VirtualBox from Oracle. Raise your hand if you do not have anything right now. I know one students, but only one. Everybody has Ubuntu. Okay, fine. So I want you to. Doesn't matter where you are, VirtualBox or VMware. I want you to start one operating system. Okay, let me check our students. Still on VirtualBox? Oh, there's a problem. We cannot go back. Oh, that's fine. Okay. 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 Let's get in the Ubuntu. So log in using your password. Oh, this is too big. Reduce back up a little bit so that all windows in one. Yeah. Okay, so let's try. If you do cd slash, then it'll take you to the top of this file structure. So cd space slash, then you go up. Yet you do not know where you are. If you do cd again, don't do anything, then here, a little different. Do you have a question? Yeah, it is a case sensitive. No, it is not. There is no such a thing, so fellow. There's no white space. Well, the programs, white space is usually ignored, right? Yeah, you can. Oh, at least one space. Oh, of course. Yeah, CD. I was thinking of that. You are talking about this CD and slash. Then that is. But if you do CD immediately, then that is one word. Well, if the programmer expects that, therefore scan through character by character, then it may be recognized. But usually they don't do. But if you think this is better, then you can program it. So cd slash means cd space slash. All depends on the implementation. If we do this, then there's a problem, right? cd slash said altogether no such file or directory. No such file or directory. It didn't say that no such command. It says no such file. Why it says file rather than command? Why? No. The question is, I issue command, right? But that is a wrong command. We all know that is wrong, right? But this error message says no such file. Exactly. The command is nothing but a file. Right. For example, cd slash bin, there are a lot of binary files. Let's practice this. Find from top, type D, and name binary bin. See how many such things. There's so many binary files, binary directories, still running. What do you mean by binary directories? Right. Binary file is nothing but executable. File itself is executable. When you say ls, list, there's an executable file. Executable file is nothing but a file. So the error command, it says, didn't say no such command, but it says no such file, because command is nothing but a file which is executable. Okay. So if you do cd slash, then it goes up. If you do cd, then we don't see much. But can anyone say what happened so far? If I do When I do this, and when I did this, what happened on this prompt? Oh, thank you so much. So George said, if I do cd slash, then the prompt, this prompt says Ubuntu, after that colon slash dollar. If I do cd without anything, but it has a tilde. What is slash, what is a tilde in Linux? Huh? What is a tilde? What is tilde? What is a slash in Linux? Slash means something in Linux. Top. Tilde. Tilde like this. No, it's not bottom, but similar. What? No. Yeah, I mean, structure-wise, it may be in the middle, but more specifically, what would you say? Tilde. Tilde means your home directory. Isn't it so powerful? Sometimes in Windows, by clicking and open folders from somewhere, all the way, you traverse from one place to another place, and finally you are at somewhere far from your home directory. Sometimes you may need, can I go back directly to my home? Back home. I have a homesick. Go back home quickly. The command is cd. If you want to go back home directly, doesn't matter where you are, then cd, no nothing. Then home directory. CD follows by something, then it goes to that place. Okay, how do I know that? How do I know that I am at my home directory? The command, I didn't do that here, right? Command there is, another command is print current directory is pwd. pwd stands for print working directory. Right now, when I have this tilde and $sign, if I type pwd, that is my home, right? What is my login name? My login name, JYOON, right? You will see your login name. Wherever you are, if you type cd, hit enter, and then type pwd, then it displays the path from top to your home directory. Let's read this. /home/jyun. It means, slash means, if it starts from slash, it means top. Top where there is a folder name home. That home contains another folder, which is me, Jyun. Can you see this step by step? Can I go one level up? In Linux, it's not only Linux, even in Windows systems, if you want to point my father directory, my parent directory, what is the symbol? Yeah, parent. My direct parent. Symbol, I said symbol. Yeah, one level up. Perfect. Yeah. So dot. So how should I do that? CD space dot. That's my parent. And then if I say PWD, where am I? Home. Where I was, home /home /jyun. From this, I issue the command cd dot. Dot means parent. So here, if I say cd, simply hit enter, then where would I go to? Back to my home, right? Back to my home directory. If I do pw, then /home /jyun. We all know how can you go all the way up, quick to the top, then cd space /. Instead of that, using dot, can I go to the top by issuing one command only? I know we do cd dot, then it go up to home. There, if I do cd dot, then one level up, which is on top. We know that. But can you do one command simply using one cd and what about this? cd dot /dot. Dot means my father / another dot, then my grandfather, right? Which is there's no above there, and therefore pwd to / very on top. This works not only here in Linux, this works for Windows. Windows systems, all the commands so far that I did, except to find pwd, I think pwd also works. Let's find out. See here, this is Windows, okay, DOS, pwd. See, pwd. It says print working directory. jyun, where is it? On the user, C drive, CYG drive, whatever that is. If I do cd dot /dot, guess where I am, where I will be. Here in that Windows systems. I think so. C drive. C says C drive. So if I do pwd C drive. So dot or dot is not new to Linux. Knowingly, unknowingly, we already did that, right? If I do here dir, anybody know dir? Directory in there is a this Windows system does not. Okay, so let me close this. Not in Windows. Okay, here. Let's go back to our home directory. Back to each of use home directory by typing cd. Now another very basic command is ls. So we list ls. List what? List anything available there. If I do ls minus l, I want to list in long format. For example, in Windows, there's a detailed. If you click, see here, this is somewhere here. I want to list this list only. This gives you the name of each element there, right? This is Windows. Windows. What is this Windows called? I mean, the name of this Windows. This program. This program is called which Explorer? Windows Explorer. This Windows Explorer. Oh, what happened? All gone. This is just a list, but if you want to see detailed, then we can see modify the date, type, size, and so on and so forth, right? Similarly, where is my, okay, here, if I do ls minus l, then detailed, right? Long list. I want you to compare this. This is simply list. How many files that I have? This files, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2, 12 files. If I do ls minus l, then 12 files are listed in this way. Detailed information. If you understand this detailed description, then I think you know pretty much of the file systems already. We have some code here, right? Some code. We have some code here and some number, and this name, my name, appears twice, and there is another number, and there is SAP 27. This all we know, right? What is this? This timestamp, right? This timestamp recently updated. And then lastly, what is this? 321. But you can see here, this is color coded. Some file name written in this color and some others written in another color. Can you say the difference? Right. So what are they? Why one is blue, why one is white? Oh, very good. Yeah, blue in this system is not common to all others, right? Each operating system has different color coded. Some systems may not have color coded. For example, Mac operating systems. If you're running on a Mac OS, Mac so Mac OS. So there's no color, right? There's no color. If there's no color, then how do you know which one is directory, which one is file? Because this is a detailed list description, it shouldn't say. Can anyone say? Can anyone find some clue from that long list of each file? If it is a directory, it starts with the D. If it is a file, it starts with the nothing. Dash. Like the Mac users, you can tell, right? In that way. If that is D, which means directory, and in color code, the color that this Ubuntu uses in this color, blue, and if it is a direct the file itself, then simply dash. And we'll look at this. This is something you've never seen, but there's some repetition, right? All WX, all WX, all dash X. All WX, all WX, all dash X. Can anyone guess what it means? All WX, all WX, all dash X. Pretty much similar, but here it is something. It's not the same, right? All WX, all dash X, all dash X. Here in this file, all W dash, all dash dash, all dash dash, and some other. Somebody said. Oh yeah. Thank you, Randall. Right. All means read. W means all means readable. W means writable. X means executable. Executable. Then why 3 repetitions? RWX, RWX, RWX. These are all about security issues. This is not operating systems itself. This is exactly, I mean, specifically this tells security for each file or each folder. RWX, 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 which means that there is 3 different players. 3 different players. First, RWX is the specification for one player. In the middle, RWX specified for another player. Finally, another third group. So we'll look at that. So just keep that in mind. What I want you to do about next 10 minutes, now you know how to traverse, right? If you do / then very on top, how many? These are the, we all know this is a directory, dev, that is directory, this may be file, and then we have a lost and found directory, opt directory, run directory, sys directory, var directory, boot directory, etc directory, lib, and media directory, proc directory, sbin directory, and so on and so forth. So bring up one blank page, or you can bring up a notepad. What I want you to do here, very on top, you have root, right? So very on top, you have a root, and next level we have a bin. See here, bin, right? And then if you do cd bin, we're going back, and see ls, oh, there are so many bin, right? All binaries. See here, ls. ls is the command. Okay, that is nothing but a file. Some command appears in this bin. Bin is a binary file, so that is executable. Some command in another bin. Remember that in my earlier find command? What did I do? I want to list all the directories called bin. There's so many bin directories available. This is a bin directory very on top, right? And then I can go back from that bin, and then I can say dev. Okay, on another directory is a dev. For example, dev. If I change cd dev, then what? Oh, there are a lot of those, right? Dev, different names, right? And also it has some folders. CD-ROM folder. Oh, therefore dev means device. Anything that you have a device, and if it is mounted, for example, disk, floppy disk, TTY, monitor. Monitor is well known by this systems, right? This Linux. There are a lot of terminals available. How many terminals? From TTY 0, 20, 40, 50, and so many. 50 SDA is another devices. PPP. Yeah, you can see them here. Directory files. So what I will do is we'll take about 15 minutes break. At your spare time, I want you to write a directory like this as much as you can. DEV, under DEV, for example, I have CD-ROM, then you can say here and CD-ROM. I know you cannot do that all because it's not enough, right? But I want you to at least try, right? By having this DEV, then go back and see what else that I could do. For example, LIB, then LIB has also this. LIB itself has a bin directory. Let's say this, PWD, LIB. Then LIB has something here. It doesn't have a bin directory, but yeah. So we'll take a 15-minute break, and when you come back, let's share directories and files that you find if there's something interesting, okay? Let's take 10-minute break. Okay, let's see. For example, Python. I know some of you know Python. Let's see, Java. Java is already installed here, right? So if you say which Java, it doesn't return any, but if you say where is Java, then it tells you where is Java. Java is where? USL share Java. That is the place that program located. We have only one Java version, But Python, for example, Python usually two versions available. So if I say where is Python, then Python 3.4 is under US. This Python 3.4 is in this bin directory, and just simply Python, and anything here is about Python, right? So it is depending upon the application, it should be uh, stored. For example, USR lib Python 2.6, USR lib Python 3.4, USR lib Python 2.7, and in my Python actually three versions of Python installed, right? It is installed where? In USR. In USR there are also the subdirectory like share or lib. But if I do lib, then there are also so many programs that installed here, right? Sudo is one of the program. SSL also, tar. That's what we are going to do. Tar is a tape archive AL is archive type tape archiver, which means if you have some files back a long time ago, the tape is very reliable media that you can save permanently. The command comes from there, TAR. So tar is not necessarily that you want to archive the resources on tape. Now that is nothing but a command, which means tar can do compress. First of all, tar can collect multiple files in one file, like zip in Windows systems. You can zip the Windows files, right? And then you can unzip it so that you can extract the files from that one file, one zipped file. Similarly, in Linux, there is a tar file. What tar file can do is it collects structure itself together with the file while it still preserves the same structure. If there's hierarchical structure, exactly the same structure. It preserves the same structure, but collects all the files under one name. There's a tar, like archive, the structure. Not only that, tar file can do compress, so that let's squeeze it, let's reduce the size, compress. That is also possible. Okay. So you can see some of those, right? Here. See here we have a Python 3.4, 3, 2.7, 2.6. I have here R. I'm sure nobody here installed R, but I installed R. What is R? Anybody know R? Anybody heard of R? That is the data analytical tools, R. All is like a statistical tool. So if you have a very large size of data, then can analyze your data quickly, right? But anyway, you can install such things. Perl here. Perl is another scripting language. Some of you might know, right? Mozilla. This is a web browser already installed. Lots of those. See here, GCC, C compiler, GNU C compiler. There's no GDB. GDB, we didn't install GDB, right? GDB is the debugger. Debugger developed by GNU. By using debugger for cybersecurity measures, so far we never taught that course, but I'm going to develop another undergraduate course using GDB. We need to crack in the program. If you have executable files, then you cannot see the code inside, right? But if you want to see how that program is developed, this is a cracking, right? Code cracking. Code cracking is possible only if you do debugging tools. So by debugging the software packages, you need to look at not the program level, but the lowest machine language level. Anybody heard of any specific machine language is called? Anybody know that name? Name of that language? Machine code? What is it called? Assembly. So it goes up down to assembly level. Okay? Those who know the assembler and those who use debugger can crack the code. If you know how to crack the code, then you can build, for example, malicious code on your own. But we're not doing that. We're not emphasizing much about the malicious code. But you can do small things, right? So that you can install that on your friend's machine, and then finally your program continually work on your friend's machine and find out if there is any credit card information or banking login and password and such things. Then you will be a very, very, very bad guy. Well, technically, that is possible, right? So you should not trust your friend. As far as you know, cybersecurity. But anyway, this is that. Okay, so there's a directory stuffs. Let's go back to our PowerPoint slide. Okay, PowerPoint slide. Man page. This is very, very useful. Whenever you have a command, then you may need to read manual, right? Manual can be found from Google, but manual also can be found from your Linux operating systems, your Ubuntu, by typing man. If you do not know what man is, then you need to say man. then it will explain. Man is the manual describing about your manual. So if you see the manual, then you can type man, right? For example, here, if you type man, it explains about what is the manual. We already looked at man ls. Then it tells you list of description about what ls means. Ls means list directory content, right? ls. And there are some options. ls minus a, ls minus all. By the way, I forgot. We need to go back to show minus a. Okay, so we can go back to home directory, cd, and hit enter. ls minus l, then it ls minus l, then it listed all the files. In Linux, directory is nothing but file. Command is nothing but file. Files, of course, a file. So in Linux, all the objects is nothing but files. So file structure is very, very important. Once you know the file structure, you know about Linux. So Linux, well, anyway, there is some hidden files exist. So that if you want to see, I want to see all the files, then ls minus a. If you do ls minus a, then the first two items, I want you to look at that. One single dot, double dot, and then so many other dots. Dot bash logout, dot bash rc, dot gconfig, dot profile, some dot files. Those dot files are not shown. If you type ls, then you have a shorter version of list. When you do ls minus a, then you have a lot longer items. In Linux, if we create dot and file name, then it is not be seen by ls. It can be seen only if you do ls minus a. Let me ask you then, can I list all such in detail, all the files, including hidden files, in the long description, detailed description? What is the command? ls minus A for all, L for long list. You can combine two options together, minus AL, then everything, including dot and dot dot. If we do dot dot, then that is not me, right? There's my father. My father, which is home. If you see here all, then the owner, the two names, right? I'll tell you what those two names means. But anyway, there is an owner. One of them is owner. Owner of this file is Jae-yoon. Many of these appears Jae-yoon. All, by the way, all Jae-yoon, but here, dot dot. It is owned by root. What does that mean? Right, home directory is created by the system, It's not, that is not something that I created, right? It's already given. I'm not the owner, right? So that's what dot means. Dot, or single dot. Somebody may ask, single dot means me. Tilde is also pointing me. But tilde is used when we yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it can be used within the path expression. Uh, but dot doesn't mean my home. Dot means current, right now. Wherever I am, dot means right here. Sometimes I need to say, I want to run this file right here. Why it is really needed? Why should I specify right at this folder or directory? Uh, there's some cases that you have the same program, but that is given by installed by system, and you installed the same program, but on your own directory. So right now, I want to run my program rather than the program that is widely known within my Linux. In such case, you need to explicitly specify right here dot and slash sum. Then I want to run whatever after that slash that should appear on my current directory. You need to say explicitly, I want to run this. Then you need to say dot. Okay? You may have that situations often. Okay. And man SSH, you can try also man SSH. What is SSH stands for? Secure? Secure what? Secure shell. Secure shell. SSH, open SSH, open secure shell or secure shell client remote login. It's a program logging into a remote machine and for executing commands on the remote machine. It is didn't spell out right, but that's what it is. Secure shell. What secure shell means is that this is a Linux Ubuntu operating systems. Can I run this system from Windows? Yes, you can. This Ubuntu, like here, this is the way that I am working on right here is nothing but I'm working on that system itself. Can I log in remotely? Remotely means Windows system. If I do this, Windows system is not the same as that, right? This is Windows systems, right? I have Windows systems. Can I log in from this system to that Linux system? So two remote systems. In such case, we can use SSH. We'll do that later, but not today. You may read this all, then there are something that you can. If we want to quit, see here, bottom, highlighted. If you press Q, meaning quit. So press Q. Man password. In Linux, password is written PSSWD, not WORD. If you do PSSWD, then it discloses about password. And then may say where that password file located. Password file is where? etc/password. etc/PSSWD. Files related to password are several in Linux. One of them is PSSWD. The other one, shadow. Long time ago, in the first version of Linux, when I was a student, there's no shadow files exist, only password. So if I crack in password, then I can hack another system, right? So one day, so at the time, I can hack in any machines. So sometimes I hacked in Carnegie Mellon Android systems and MIT systems, and I enjoyed. I hacked in this system, that systems, and then several months later, FBI came to me, and he says, "Who was working on this lab and such night?" So at that night, I was the only one there. So yeah, me. He says, Carnegie Mellon complained that somebody hacked in from this location. So if you are the person, you probably the guy. So I said, because it was open, I can get in. Why didn't they protect their systems? It's a long story, but the dean of my school protected me, and he said, "Hey, you guys, get out of here. If you have any issue, then you need to come to me. Don't touch my students." So I would say. But anyway, since that time, they created the shadow files. Password file, it contains some, but not all. Another portion, for example, real password, is in another file, which is a shadow. We'll see that here. ls, yeah, change directory, cd/etc. Then it'll go to that etc. files. And ls, there's so many ls, so many files. ls -l and PASSWD. Then that is there, right? And ls -l shadow. So look at these two files. If it's this file, this is a file dash rw dash rw dash all dash dash all dash dash. What does that mean? Anyone can read it, right? Shadow rw dash all dash 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 dash. There are so many people cannot read it, shadow. What does that mean? This password file needs to contain password itself, right? But if you want to log in, then privilege is your privilege. your privilege needs to access the password. Therefore, system knows that your password can be compared so that system determines whether you can be in or not, right? So password should be readable by anyone in the system. But the problem there is there's an encoded password exists there. If we know that encoded password, then I can crack in so that I know password. Then after that I can get in because it is visible to everyone. If it is not visible to everyone, then what happens? Then no one can get in. Anyway, it should be visible to everyone. But another dilemma is that password is there. Is there any way that we can still show it to everyone, but still protect the password? That is the reason we split the files. We have a password and shadow. Shadow files contains that password itself. So it is not visible. Let's take a look at some of those. If you want to see only tail 2 items of that password, then tail space -2, or you can do 5. Last 5 items. Tail means rather than read all the files of a password, I want to read only last tail portion. How many lines? How many items? 5 items. Then tail -5 and password. Similarly, we can do tail -5 shadow. It doesn't help. It doesn't show to you, right? I can read the password, but I cannot read shadow. In that way, Python and Linux now secure, right? At least the password wise. If you read these password files, see here me, this is me, right? Password. First item, Jyun means that is a login name. And then there's a colon. Colon is a delimiter. And then next one, X. Before we split the password, and I mean split password to password and shadow, instead of X, there is the password. Password exists instead of X. If you see here, all the username, they're all X, simply X. Do you see that? Second items, they're all X. So although you read the password, you cannot see password of your friends. You cannot hack in, right? But if you want to see the shadow files, and if you are a super user group, then you can do sudo now you can see sudo means root password. As far as you have a root password, then you can see it. What happens here? This instead of this, say here Jyun-X, password here is Jyun doesn't appear here, right? So what I can do here is, if I want to see Jyun, then shadow, I want to read. If you want to read all, then you need to do cat. Cat means I want to read all. And then pipe, vertical bar,
and then grep Jaeyoon. So I can see Jaeyoon's password. What is Jaeyoon's password? Encrypted. If you have a very good tool of decryption tools, then you can see my password, right? Technically, because I can see, right? We know I have sudo means I'm in the sudo worker group. Each one, when you install your Ubuntu on your virtual machine, when you create first, then you are automatically sudo work group. And after that, if you want to issue login ID to general, then of course you do not put him in that sudo work group. If that person is not in that sudo group, then he cannot even do sudo. Sudo is not possible to everyone. Only those who are in that club, sudo work club. Okay? Sudo super user. Do. Thing is this. Everyone can see password file. But there's no one can see shadow file. For each one's credentials, all the information appear in the password except password itself. You can see here Jaeyoon. If you see this, what does this mean? 1,000 and 1,000. My ID is 1,000. And my group is 1,000. There's some codified. And my full name is Chan Yoon. And there is some other items. And then what is this? My home directory is /home/Jaeyoon. And what is this? The last item? Colon, last colon. What is it? The last item after the last colon? /bin/bash. Shell. There's a shell. Jaeyoon has shell Jaeyoon. When Jaeyoon comes into my system, and shell, the operating system shell, operating system shell that my system provides to Jaeyoon is bash shell. Even if you install Ubuntu, bash shell is not the only shell. There may be many other shells, and also you can install the more shells, which means each one has, you can assign different shell to different person, right? That is possible. This information can be seen if you type ID. ID. Whoever in a Linux operating system, if you type ID, then it gives you some information. That information from password. Do you see that? User ID. What is the code? 1,000. Sounds familiar? That appears in password, right? But explain a little bit. 1,000 means Jaeyoon. So if you create another user ID, then you can assign user ID, UID, real number. You may say 65,124, whatever the number, right? You assign. What is the other? Group ID. By default, group ID at first time 1,000. So group is 1,000. There is only one, and there is some others, right? So if you have, for example, in that
etc cat group, we can simply cat group, then it display all the content of that file called group. It has, for example, Jaeyun has a group 1000 and some other groups, right? Different group number, 117, 119, 120, 124, 1000 is the highest in this default, right? Root, what is the group number for root? 0. And also there is an admin group, ADM. My name is there. Your name probably there also when you install. In this way, you can do similar to the privileges root can do. So we can do sudo, right? Okay. Let's go further. There's a manual. Command, we did the ls, pwd, cd, mkdir, and rmdir. Mkdir is to create a directory. rm, remove. You can remove the directory. Touch, remove the file, rm. mv, there's a move the file. Remove and move, there's two different things. And two different things is very, 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 very different. Remove means removal. Or move means if you want to copy, if you want to rename. For example, in Windows systems, you can rename the file, right? File name can be renamed, but there's no rename in Linux. But there is this very powerful name called move. Rename is only applicable to file only. But move here, it can be anyway. Linux file itself is a file, directory is a file, anything that you can see in the Linux file. So if you know how to play with the file, then you know everything about the Linux, right? Copy, CP. Cat, we already tried, right? Cat shows the content. More, if we want to more from the top, more means if you want to read window by window, then you can use more. Head, I want to read 10 items from the top, then you can use head. Tail, as we looked at, from the tail, from the bottom. Less and more, they are similar. Only difference is less. It explains the same thing, right? More or less. But less is a newly designed command for more, but I'll explain more later. Okay, where is, we looked at that, which, okay, this is tar, if you want to archive. But for this archive, we will do next time. Archive and compress. We did this also, right? Who we didn't do, but ID. Uname. Uname is another good thing. If you type uname, many times if you see some monitor, somebody just stepped away, but you know there is a black monitor like this, so you are so curious, I want to see what is the operating systems running here. Then you can say uname, type uname. Then it tells you, oh, Linux operating systems. Some of those, right? And then you can say, oh, I want to know who that person is. Then you can say, who am I? Then JUN. Of course, if you type ID, then a lot more than that, right? The other thing you can do. Pipe, we already. What is pipe? Pipe is this. I want to, from one command, I can have some outcome, right? And then I want to run another command against the outcome of the previous command. If we do not have a type, what we need to do is that we first save the outcome of the first command. And then save the file, this file, right? And then I can apply another command to that saved file. That is only that we can do. But that's so handy way available in Linux using pipe. What did I do previously? When I did, for example, password, cat password, so long, right? And another command is grep. We do not know what grep is, right? So say man grep. Then it explains what grep means. Grep is, here grep searches the name input files for lines containing match to the given pattern. By default, grep prints the matching lines. This is very handy. Windows systems does not have grep. What grep can do is, without open the file, I want to search something from that file. There's a grep. Okay. So grep and cat, two different commands. Cat is the command displaying the whole content. Grep, without having to open it, search. Okay. You can grep. See here, man grep. It just describes about grep, right? I want to man grep, then it tells me about the grep, right? All of this big file. Can I search? Of course, we can search. What words that we might have here? Say fgrep. Can I search fgrep? Yes. Man grep pipe. Man grep returns big file. But I want to search. I want to grep. Like a grep. Pick up. I want to grep. So we can use another grep. Fgrep.
let's see, can I do fgrep simply? Yeah. What I did is man grep, pipe grep, fgrep. What does that mean? If I ask you in your midterm exam, explain this. Man grep, pipe grep, fgrep. Tongue twist. Which means first command is to display all manual. That manual is to be fed into the second command. So feed into the second command, like pipelining. Outcome of the first command will be fed into the next command. Next, therefore, there may be multiple pipes possible in one command. Outcome of first command will be fed into the second command, whose outcome is in turn fed into the third command, so on and so forth, possible. In this case, we have only one pipe, right? Outcome of manual is fed into the grep. Usually, when you need to grep, then grep keyword and then file name. See here, man grep. What is the format? Format is this: grep, pattern, and file. Right? But in this example, grep, pattern, but I do not have that. Where can I grep? Where is the target? Target is nothing but the outcome of the first command when I have a pipe. Okay? So it is pipeline from one command to the next command, and outcome of the next command will be fed into the very next command and the very next command. In doing so, one command will be so powerful, right? And in doing so, you do not have to save the outcome temporarily. You do not have to save because it is directly fed into next and next and next. Without having to save physically, whole long sequence of commands can be executed. All right? Any question? So a lot of things that we can learn so far, we did this so basic commands. Those who do not have Linux operating systems, once you have Linux operating systems, you can catch up quick because you can just type the way that I did by reading the course materials. So don't be too much disappointed. But I'm warning you, if you do not have Linux operating systems in the next few classes, then it'll be almost impossible to catch up. So please bring your Linux operating systems by next class. Those who need help, bring your systems and everything, and make an appointment with me, and I can help you. Okay? Have a good night.